Hello folks, welcome back ladies and gents. I am the Bibliotech Nerd, and this is the show where we review comic books and graphic novels. Once again, we are back with the Vintage Friday show that sometimes isn't quite released on a Friday. But nonetheless, today in this video we have a good one to look at. Detective Comics number 411, Batman and Batgirl into the Den of the Death Dealers. Batman once again returns to his original gothic roots in this comic and leaves behind some of the clutter that had formed around the character in the previous years. The story of this comic is written by Denny O'Neil, and the art is by Bob Brown and Dick Giordano. As always, we will start off with a quick summary before moving on to the small opinion spiel at the end of the video. I'm going to start with the yellow boxes on the first page. The night breeds soot-coloured fog, and there is a stillness, broken only by gasps of wind and muffled lapping of the sea. Across the bay, the lights of the city glow dimly, coldly, like beacons of hell. Silent and motionless as a bird of prey, the dread Batman perches atop the Statue of Freedom, waiting. Inside the massive sculpture's torch, a furtive figure splashes light into the shadows, his voice hissing in hoarse whisper. A deal is to be made between the man and Batman, his life protected against the League of Shadows for information on how to take them down. Even as the Batman and the cowed criminal confer, a pair of cloaked forms slither stealthily towards them. Although Batman's prowess and skill in various martial arts protects him from the two assassins, his informant isn't as fortunate and is murdered on this night. Fighting the League is not an easy task. We move on to another part of the world. The Zoom Express, oldest, creakiest passenger service in the world, a wheezing, coal-burning engine and 4 termite-ridden cars, which poke along narrow rusting iron rails. Yet for the folk of a tiny Asian nation tucked into the mountains between two hostile superpowers, this chugging antique is the sole means of travel. Batman is on the trail of Doctor Darrk and Talia al Ghul, who seems to be his prisoner. Although Batman is quick to confront Doctor Darrk, the League is prepared for him and are able to quickly and brutally capture the Dark Knight. His skill won't be able to save him in this overwhelming situation. With pain bursting in his skull, the Batman regains consciousness and feels the cool, short touch of a woman's fingers on his battered brow. Talia had done her best to take care of Batman as best as she could in the dark dungeon that they both found themselves in. But there is little time to rest and recover. The heavy door opens and they get ushered into a stone arena. Batman must fight for his life and that of Talia as he faces against a monstrous, ravenous bull. In the end though, Batman manages to escape with Talia and takes the fight straight to Dark. Things are never straightforward for the Batman, and Dark gets the drop on him and manages to wound him with a knife. Unexpectedly, it is Talia that manages to end the whole ordeal, but kills Dark in the process as she shoots him and he falls in front of the Zoom Express train. Here ends the story. Now that the short summary of the story is over, let's move on to the opinion spiel. So, story-wise, this comic book isn't that exciting. As a whole, it's a pretty basic plotline. The real highlight though is of course the fact that Talia gets introduced into the comic. I believe that this may in fact be her very first appearance. So it's always pretty cool to see first appearances, and of course we know where the story with Talia al Ghul eventually goes down the line, and she has of course Batman's son. She's also definitely presented differently compared to her modern counterpart. In this one she's far more shy and she's nowhere near the master assassin that she is today. Otherwise though, I did in fact enjoy this comic from a thematic perspective. The easiest way to explain it is that it kind of reminds me of an Indiana Jones movie. I don't know why, but it gave me the vibe of the Temple of Doom, if I remember correct. The narrator boxes really helped to sell the aesthetic, and then choosing the setting to be at a kind of a Buddhist looking temple in an unknown Asian nation, which kind of seems to be somewhere in the Himalayas, the way it's drawn in a sense. I suppose that the color palette also helped to create that vibe, because otherwise I'm not quite a big fan of the artwork. I believe that the intention was to return to a more simpler gothic-esque Batman, but personally I'm not a fan of the whole purple theme and the head cover and the cape being this one piece. I also don't like what the style overall does to characters' faces. It darkens them far too much with shading, and also the bone structure kind of seems like everyone's been doing some hard narcotics. The skin is pulled in far too tight, emphasizing certain bone structures and making the characters look very old and tired. So I'm not a very big fan of the style that was used to sketch the comic. Otherwise, I would give the comic book a rating of okay, nothing quite special. But now I'm going to give a small little announcement regarding the start of April. I had an idea a little while back because of the movie that's coming out, the Shazam movie. I thought that it would be good if I released on Monday The Life of Captain Marvel, the review of the comic book, and then on Wednesday The Trials of Shazam as a review, and then of course ending with Friday, a fight night between Captain Marvel and Shazam. Friday the 5th of April will be the release date, so I thought that would be perfect. But I will likely see the movie on the 8th, so I will do a movie review on the 8th. I also managed to get my hands on the Shazam Origins novel that was created especially for the movie. So I might try to fit that in, though I'm not sure if I should do it before Fight Night or maybe leave it till after. I think I might leave it for after the Fight Night, but just before the actual movie review. Either way, it's going to be a pretty packed week and very exciting. Each book is going to get its own video, so they're going to be a bit longer than usual. But for now, I hope you enjoy this video. Don't forget to subscribe, like, maybe share with some friends, and I shall see you next week.